One of the things I learned from Randy very early on was even though it's called the London-Laurel County Chamber of Commerce, it's not just about business and commerce. It's really about community. Probably in 1998, I started getting involved in the chamber and really reconnect with Randy and realize, what a great job he had done in creating the chamber, because Randy came along and he was there a long time and really molded the chamber around him and how he wanted it to be and how he felt it would be best for London-Laurel County. Randy was concerned not only about businesses and the people that owned them. Certainly he was concerned about that, but he was concerned about jobs and education and health care, recreation, the quality of life in London and Laurel County. And Randy was involved in a lot of things. And I really think that we'll never know the totality of what Randy was involved in, because he really shunned the spotlight. Randy always felt like he didn't need to get the credit. On a couple of occasions, I would tell him, Randy, why don't you get your picture in there? And Randy would say, hey, I get paid for this. You guys are volunteering your time. You need to get the credit and the spotlight for it. I think it's fitting that our Ambassadors Club is called the Ambassadors Club, because I've always felt like Randy was the best ambassador that London-Laurel County had. He was articulate, personable, warm. He could talk to anybody for 5 minutes and they felt like they'd known him for a lifetime and he had known them for a lifetime. And he also welcomed them to our community. One of the big traditions that we always had at the chamber, and still do, is chamber night at the movies. There were several folks who never went to a movie, but they just stayed out and greeted people. So that was a nice tradition with Randy. He always wanted the members to interact with each other. Understand that's really where the real business happens sometimes. He was always concerned about the owner and their business. Now, he always said people don't just volunteer or donate just to get their name or their business mentioned, but it's up to us as the chamber to make sure they get that credit. I always felt that Randy put London-Laurel County's best face forward. There's no question that I think people were impressed when they came around Randy, recognizing that is this a community I'm going to do business in, and this is sort of the leader of their Chamber of Commerce, and that was very impressive. But his warmth, his humor, he could absolutely talk to anybody about anything. It's sort of funny. I think every ribbon cutting I was ever at, Randy would hit me on the back of the head just before the picture was taken. So those are certainly some fond memories. Or he would flick my ear or do something just to try to make me flinch as the picture was being taken. He probably did that to countless other people as well. Randy always kept that sense of humor, always wanted to get the job done, and we were out there doing it. Kind of a funny story about Randy is that as many ribbon cuttings as we attended over the years, he never ate anything. And at a banquet, you would never see him eat. At the luncheons, you would never see him eat, because he was always planning and doing. We were actually at a ribbon cutting, and we looked over and Randy was eating a cupcake. Well, I didn't notice that anybody else had ever noticed that. But I look over and Bruce was taking a picture of Randy eating, and he kept it on his cell phone for a number of years, because Randy was just always so involved that he never ate. Randy and I were at a lot of chamber functions with each other, but we also walked a lot up and down Main Street quite a bit. And the bulk of our conversations would be chamber-related, community-related, talking about businesses, what this business was doing, that business was getting ready to do. Just always very community-focused. Randy, earlier in his life, had a lot of business interest, and he had a lot of opportunity. Randy could have gone a lot of different ways, but he would always come back to, well, now how does this affect my family? So he chose to become successful in his professional life in such a way that he could augment very successfully with his family life. Without doubt, Randy was a London-Laurel County guy. I mean, community was so important to him. This is where he grew up. This is where his kids were raised. The community, the sense of community that I felt from Randy was extremely important to him. And it makes it more important to me. I think when we look back on the impact that Randy Smith had on London-Laurel County, we're not going to know the answer to that for years, but I think it's going to be huge. I think he did inspire a lot of people. We were very fortunate that we had him in such a key role in our community. And I think that legacy is going to impact London-Laurel County for years and years.